Okay, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the 21 benefits of having an operations manual in your business. By the end of this episode, if you don't already have an absolutely watertight, nailed, standardized, complete operational manual in your business, I hope you're going to be inspired to start creating one or to finish the one you've already created today, because the benefits of this are unbelievable. This is your ticket to freedom in your business. This is how you remove yourself from the day-to-day running of the tasks and everything that you do. This is how you can increase the consistency of the work. You reduce the staffing costs and all the rest of it. And these are the benefits that I'm going to go through in this episode. So the question is this: how do entrepreneurs like us who don't have an endless supply of cash, how do we leverage the best apps, virtual assistants, automation tools, and systems to scale our businesses, increase our profits, and have more time to do what we love to do each day? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name's Dr. Steve Day, and this is Systemize Your Success. Okay, so let's just kick off straight in. I've got a lot to cover, and I want to go through these in enough detail just to give you a bit of insights into each one. I've got 21 things to cover on this, and even if you've already got an operations manual, the benefit of listening to this episode is going to be you're going to be able to compare what yours is doing with what it should be doing. And if they don't match or you don't have one at all, then I'm going to give you a link, or it'll be in the show notes, and you can actually go to it if you want. And I'll give you the link in a minute at the end of the episode, and you can then download our how to create an operation manual guide as quick as humanly possible. It's what we teach our clients, and it will really give you a massive boost and a head start. And then you can reach out to us if you want more help in then polishing it and actually how you actually use that effectively in your business. So let's kick off. One of the biggest reasons, they're all the biggest reasons, so I'm going to stop saying that because I'm going to repeat myself time and time again. Okay, number one, in no particular order of value, but number one, once you have an operation manual in your business, staff will stick around longer because they don't get stressed. Now, this is sort of one of those hidden benefits that people don't realize, but staff get stressed when they don't know what they need to do. They procrastinate and stuff takes longer because they have to try and figure too much stuff out. They end up then not hitting their targets and feeling undervalued because they're not performing at their best. When you give them a clear guide, they know what to do, they get it done, they actually are a better and more valuable person in your business, and therefore and also because they can delegate stuff down, they can actually then focus more on the stuff they enjoy doing, hand over some of the stuff they don't enjoy doing. They then increase their value even further, and therefore they love their work because they can see the value they're giving, and at the same time you love them being there because they're getting work done. All this comes from them knowing exactly how to do what it is they're meant to be doing. So having an operation manual removes or reduces the reliance on key individuals. Now, key staff, when they've got stuff in their heads, the key players, the people that think they're really great in your business, maybe it's even you, and we'll come to that in a minute, but, removing stuff from people's heads and getting it down into a way that other people can then do those jobs, it can be scary for your employees, but for a business owner, it's absolutely essential. Because otherwise, you're stuck hiring this person for an infinitum. And if they aren't on the sort of the path to progress up and be promoted, you basically end up paying over the odds for basic low value work. So you reduce your costs by not hanging on to staff too long. And if they are underperforming, you can sack them quicker because you've got the information from them in a way that you can quickly hand over to somebody else. So the pain of changing that person is reduced. So you can also, when you want to promote somebody up, so moving on from that, when you want to promote somebody up, that person has to delegate down. They have to be able to give somebody else all the work that they were once doing. Otherwise, there's a void left in your business. You need to fill that void in, and the quickest way to do that is for that work to be documented. Somebody else can step into that role. It doesn't take the person you just promoted away from their new high value work to train the person, because you've got the operation manuals and the systems in place to train them for you. You also maintain the quality of work when any individual in your whole business goes on holiday. So when someone goes away, often that work just sort of parks and sits there. In our business, if it's critical core work, and it should be the same in your business, if it's critical core work, it needs to continue. But if somebody else isn't trained in doing that to the equal standard the person who does it day to day, the operations manual can make that a hell of a lot easier and reduce the time taken by the person stepping in, and also maintain consistency and quality controls because the person isn't trying to figure stuff out and sort of guess along the way. Also, getting staff to, having the operation manual in the first place allows you to get your staff to actually document things in a standardized way. If you just say to your staff, and I've seen this so many times with our clients, if you just say to your staff, hey, yeah, can you document this for me? I've seen that an operations manual is really important. Can you create an operations manual for me? They do it their way. The next person does it another way. You do it your way. And none of them have actually to any standard or have actually had much thought about, how they should be done. I mean, I've spent 6 years thinking about operations manuals. That's the sort of length of time it's taken me to get absolutely nail it to spot on. You get people to randomly do it their own way. It's not going to work. So creating a standardized way, whichever way, there's lots of people that teach you how to do operation manuals. I'm not saying you have to come to me to get this information, but pick one, make sure it's a solid method and a framework for using it, and then standardize every single operation manual in your business. It will speed up the production of those because people will learn how to do it, and it'll make sure you capture all the critical pieces of information in every single operation manual that you have. Okay, so another great benefit of having an operations manual for all of the core work that your staff are doing is that it massively reduces the number of annoying and time-consuming tasks that, questions that people throw at you or your managers if you're a larger organization, but they throw at you as a business owner throughout the day. So I'm not saying I never get hassled about little things here and there, because of course there's always room for improvement, and things just always, there's bound to be things that do crop up that aren't covered. But the vast majority of the questions that I ever get asked they've been asked, I should say. And because I've got an operation manual, I've been able to capture that question and the answer I've given in the operation manual, and it will never be asked again. That's it's the secret sauce of it. It's understanding. It's the act of documentation that's more powerful than what you actually document originally. Because once it's documented, you can then improve it. And going on from that, it's about getting, we talked about getting stuff out of your staff's heads, but it's getting stuff out of your heads. I said in the intro, it's the ticket to your freedom, but it gives you the ability to delegate effectively, to get work done to a high standard without your involvement. It clears your headspace. So I used to do, I still have, student accommodation. And every year, once a year, we did all the work because it's like they all change houses at the same time. And every year I had to remember all of my processes. And so I started documenting that. That's how I really got into this world of process documentation, because every year I'd make mistakes. And so I started documenting my own work so I would then follow my own instructions. And I still continue to do this today for things like my personal tax returns that I have to do myself. I have an operation manual to teach me how to do it because I do it every year. Therefore, it speeds up so I don't have to ever think. So it clears the headspace. You can free your head to think about other stuff because you've documented the core things. It reduces stress because you're basically getting stuff done by other people. You don't have to hold stuff in your head. And it really increases consistency, as I was just describing then, in your own work, or obviously in the person you're delegating to as well. And I have touched on this, but having your operations manual, it allows you to go on holiday. What are we up to now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. That's number 8. Tip number 8. It allows you to go on holiday. It allows you to take time off without your business grinding to a halt because other people can do your stuff for you. So number 9. You do less work yourself because you've delegated effectively, and because you're not getting questions back about that work, you have more time. Because you have more time, you're able to lead your business. You'll be able to focus on your highest income generating tasks and therefore make more money. When you can spend your days doing the work that increases the number of clients you have or the value you give to those clients, rather than all the other mundane stuff that just happens in business you have to do, the admin, the operations, all the rest of it, once you can focus all your time on that, that's when it gets fun, it gets exciting. And, that's the dream. And that's where the operation manual will take you. So number 10 now. Operations manuals, they enable iterative improvement. I've touched on this, but I want to make such a point of it because it's so important that once you've got something written down, it can be improved. If it's in people's heads and one person does it one way, another person does it another way, a third person comes in and tries to learn it, it's just a big jumbled mess. And who knows who's doing it the best way. When you write that down, you can collaborate and you can actually iteratively improve your processes. They also reduce, so number 11, they reduce the bar to entry, or lower, I should say, the bar to entry for your staff. This massively reduces your staffing costs because you can get relatively high-level work done for a low-level cost. That means that you are not paying over the odds. Going back to hanging on to staff for so long because it's all in their heads. This is like when you're bringing people in, suddenly they're doing work that's way above their pay grade and they love it, but it's not stressing them out and you're getting high quality work because you've documented it all really, really well. And leading on from that, this facilitates you to be able to use people anywhere in the world who maybe don't have the experience that you're looking for, but they live in a country where the cost of living means you can hire someone for a few dollars an hour and give them a great quality of life and opportunities to work they couldn't get in their home country. And you're getting work done at a high level for that cost. It's absolutely game-changing if you're a small business, a self-funded small business, and you haven't got huge amounts of capital right now. Being able to reduce your staffing costs by a factor of 5 or even 10 in some cases, it is game-changing because suddenly you can hire staff, whereas before you just couldn't afford it. Also, I think we're on 12 now, 13 even, you enables you to scale your business because once you've got stuff documented, you can get other people to do more of it. So you've got one area of your business that you realize is a bottleneck, get it documented, and then put more resources onto it. Get more people thinking about it and doing it. And that will then remove that bottleneck. If you haven't got it documented, you're relying on somebody who's already super busy, who's totally overwhelmed because there's a bottleneck there, or they're just overwhelmed with work. It doesn't have to be a bottleneck. It's overwhelmed with work. They're totally overwhelmed. Then you go, hey, can you just train this new person to help you? What happens is that person becomes even more stressed. That next person doesn't get trained very well. It takes a long time for you to see the benefits of bringing that next person in. And all this time, you've actually had reduced productivity in your team rather than the increase that you desperately needed. So it actually makes the situation much worse before it gets any better. Flip that around and have an operations manual in place. You bring somebody in. They use the operation manual, they ask a few questions to get clarification, which you then update the operation manual to improve it for next time, and the person's up to speed doing good value work in record time and without taking your key member of staff away from doing the work that's obviously already overwhelming because that's why you've had an extra person to help you. I hope that makes sense. So I think we're on about 14 now. Having an operation manual allows you to reliably meet your client's expectations. Now, when a client comes to you, I'm going to give you the example of McDonald's. Now, it's not probably the best example, but it's a very, very good example. It's good in the way that if you go into a McDonald's anywhere in the world, you get a Big Mac or a hamburger, whatever, and it looks pretty much the same. I say it's not the best example because I've had some pretty shocking burgers from McDonald's when I used to go there. But on the whole, you know what you're gonna get. You go into McDonald's, you don't expect a rare steak cooked into perfection with whatever you get your steak or whatever. You expect a slightly rubbery, greasy hamburger, and you get what you expected, and it looks roughly like it did in the picture. And so they have met your expectations. So you as a client are happy. The way they're able to do that anywhere in the world, hiring, teenagers straight out of school with no experience who can't hardly tie their shoelaces, but they're serving you food in a restaurant, where they can do that with no previous culinary experience or, college degrees in being a chef or everything, because they are chefs in effect. They're doing that because they've got process manuals and systems. That's it. It's that simple. And you need to replicate that in your business. So whatever you do for your clients, you need to document it to make sure that whoever delivers that to your clients is delivering it in a standardized way. And probably this is pretty obvious, but having an operation manual, I think we're 14 now. So having an operation manual massively reduces the mistakes your staff make because they're not relying on memory. Memory is fallible. If you've got a good operation manual, it aids the teaching of a new person coming in. And if it's written in the right way, it also facilitates the experienced person to make sure they don't make mistakes because they don't miss the major points. And that's all about writing proper checklists, not just a random checklist, which you often see people write, but a professionally written checklist. And there's books on this stuff, a book by a guy called Atwell Gandhi. I can't remember his name now, I've got it on my shelf. See if I can find it in my eyes. No, I can't find it. Atwell Gandhi, I can't remember. Anyway, you can look it up. It's called The Checklist Manifesto. And he's written a whole book on it. So there's loads of stuff about writing good checklists out there. We incorporate all those ideas and more into our processes. Cool. I think we must be on about 15 now. We're going good. So operation manuals. They protect your business when people leave. This is just making this point so clearly. I know we're sort of touching it, but it needs to be said. Because when people leave a small business, it is devastating. When people leave a big business, it's fine. We've got 3 of those in that role already. They'll just take up the slack while we find somebody else. When somebody leaves a small business, it can be absolutely devastating. I know because I've been there more than once. As somebody goes, and that knowledge, you just see it walking out the door. You're like, everything that is in that person's head, I paid for them to create, to get. I paid that knowledge to be built up. I paid for that value that person is now walking out that door with. And I'm not talking about skills like, now they're really good at Excel. I'm talking about the knowledge of your business, about how your business processes work, about how to be a great performer in your business because of the way that you want your business run. That's the stuff you can lock into your operations manuals so that when that person leaves, and they will leave, everybody will leave at some point for whatever reason. And so when that person does leave finally, then you aren't losing everything. You have got a massive head start when you hire somebody else. It's a really, really important one. Okay, I think we're on 16 now. So operation manuals reduce the time taken to onboard new staff massively. And that means that people become more productive more quickly. They become more valuable more quickly. So all the costs you put into hiring them to train, and the training them, actually get reduced. So all the costs you put into hiring them and then the cost of training them reduce because you've got the operation manual that does a lot of that hard work for you. It reduces the time before they become valuable and therefore they add value quicker. So you're getting more value in a quicker time at a lower cost. It's a win-win-win. So operation manuals are awesome for saving money. They also, number 17, operation manuals empower staff to work independently and improve their own processes. And this is sort of where the magic happens. This is the way it gets super fun. Because when you've got a standardized operation manual and you give that to somebody, or they even write it themselves, they take ownership of it. And because it's documented, as they see ways to improve it, they can then document that, and that becomes the new norm. So they become your own systems consultants on the inside with knowing nothing about systems and or fancy consultancy work, but they're just doing what they do every day and iteratively, slowly improving it and document it somewhere. But they're able to do that themselves. I think I might have repeated that one, but there you go. I had 21, so I've got one spare. So we're on to 19 now, I believe. Operation manuals reduce and eliminate the need for one-to-one training. I have mentioned this before, but when you hire somebody, it massively reduces the cost of the manager having to take time out to be able to hire the new person coming in. And the opportunity cost of that can be significant. So if you're the business owner and you get a new hire coming in and you have now hired that person to do basic, mundane, low-value tasks, you are now not only, lowering your value in your company down to the level of that low value task, you're also paying someone else to do it as well. So it's worse than bad. And so great, you're bringing somebody else in. I don't want to put you off doing that. But the fact is, if you had an operation manual to train that person to do it, you would stay at your higher level, hopefully gaining new clients, closing deals, thinking of great ways to serve your clients, whatever it is you do in your business. And the operation manual will be doing the training for you. And that is massive in terms of reducing the opportunity cost of having to train somebody one-to-one. Okay, number 20. This is probably something that people don't think about a lot, but something I know from experience of doing this for so long now, is that having a good operations manual, as in a systemized business, it makes your business a more attractive place to work. If you have a good onboarding system, if you have a good training system, if you have a good staff management system, all these things are basically built on operations manuals. Then when somebody comes into your business, they're impressed and just overwhelmed by how systemized and structured your business is. And then they want to stick around. So they go out their way to impress you because they want to stay in a business that has such a structured approach. It means that people feel like they're in control of their work, and it allows them to perform at a higher level and have more headspace to actually do more creative work because the standard work is documented for them. It's multi-level, but making your business more structured and more systemized will make it a more attractive place to work, and it will attract higher caliber people, and they'll stick around for longer. And lastly, number 21, I believe, having an operations manual increases the value of your business. If your business is totally reliant on you as the business owner to run it, to see what's going on, to tell people what to do, to answer people's questions, to make sure the consistency is there, to make sure your clients are getting served in the way that you expect them to in your business. If that's happening, then you are your business. And somebody coming in to buy your business, to invest in your business, or even wants to hand your business over as a legacy to your kids, what you're really hanging over is a big fat headache. Or what you're trying to sell is basically a more than 9 to 5 job to somebody. Say, hey, take over this, it's great. What you need, on the other hand, to make that handing over that legacy to be a gift, to empower that person to have their own dreams by having a brilliant systemized business to basically fund them through their own passions. Or if you want to try to sell your business or raise capital, then someone looking in and going, well, actually, if this business owner wasn't around, this ship would still sail. And if that's what you've got, because you've documented your business processes in your operations manual, then your business will be worth far, far more, and it'll be a more attractive place for people to invest. So that's it. That's my 21 tips or 21 reasons you should be creating your operations manual today. If you want to get our process, our system for creating operations manual, you can check in the show notes, or you can go to bit.ly/SYS-006. bit.ly/SYS-006. Thanks so much for listening. I hope it was helpful. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to this episode. I'm well aware there are hundreds of great business podcasts out there, and you chose to listen to this one, and for that I am truly grateful. Hopefully what you heard today took you one step closer to building a successful business so you can share your passion with the world and serve an ever-growing number of people. If you got value out of today's episode, then so will someone else you know. By sharing with others what has helped you along your way, you will grow your influence and be the guy or girl that everybody wants to know. So please hit the share button right now, and also remember to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss future episodes. It's impossible for me to cover absolutely everything in these podcasts, so please do head over to systemizeyoursuccess.com right now and download the show notes, transcriptions, and some of my best frameworks and systems for free. Thanks again for tuning in and being a part of this amazing community. Until next time, this is Dr. Steve Day, and you've been listening to Systemize Your Success.